about when do you start prepping? So obviously you want to start prepping early. Are we talking a few months before the exam, a year before the exam? When's the ideal? Or, and obviously we don't always get to the ideal, but how much time do we realistically need?
Realistically, I would say the average student should spend 3 to 6 months studying for this exam. And so if you're watching this in January or February, you might set a target date of June or July, for example. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just work backwards. And if that requires delaying your law school applications, so be it. It's worth applying later in the cycle with a higher score than earlier with a lower score. Even just a couple of points can make an enormous difference in getting more scholarship money or getting into a better school. And so the return on investment in just a little bit of a delay or investing in prep materials is well worth it. And if you decide that you want to wait a cycle and apply at the beginning of the following one, that's also great too, and even ideal, I would say.
So you're mentioning materials. So what do you mean by materials? I mean, what does a student who's preparing for the LSAT need?
The number one thing that you absolutely need are real official LSAT prep tests. They're published by the Law School Admission Council. They're available on Amazon, most of them in books of 10 exams for about $20 each. And so I'd recommend getting the most recent couple of those. And then the individual exams, which are closer to $8 or $10 each, you have to buy separately. And students often hem and haw about spending more money on books, but it's really just a drop in the bucket. If one more exam or one more book gets you a single point, it could pay off with scholarship money. Like I said, thousands of dollars we're talking. So it's really a no-brainer when you think about it from that perspective. Don't cheat yourself by having not enough material. But aside from that, there's nothing else you absolutely need. I have a variety of prep materials, study guides, schedules, cheat sheets, checklists, etc. on my site. I also have a course. I'm not saying you need any of that, but if going alone with the exams and free resources online is not enough for you, then it makes sense to go elsewhere for additional help.
You know, it's interesting. So I served on one of the law schools I've taught at, was on the admissions committee for a number of years, was chair of that committee. And I can assure you, we had cutoffs for scholarship money, you know, and if you were on one side of that line, it's 100% ride. On the other side of that line, it was a 50% ride. So, I mean, we're talking, you know, in today's terms, you know, an extra $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in tuition money based on one numerical score difference. So
it's remarkable. It's remarkable. It's just a single number, a single point more. There's an element of randomness on the exam too, of course. And the fact that it could go one way one day, another way another day, all that means is that it's worth retaking if you have the time in your timeline. Because yeah, single point, another couple hours of your time makes an enormous difference. It really does.
So now you've been working with students for a long time. You've been doing this.
So I've been coaching the LSAT now for over 10 years. I just hit the 10-year mark with my website this past November. And yeah, I'm still going strong with it. Love what I do. Love working with students. Love creating videos and resources. Yeah, this is my passion.
So what do you find is some of the common mistakes people make when they're actually taking the LSAT or preparing for the LSAT?
One of the biggest mistakes I see when taking the LSAT under real world test day conditions, either during practice or the real thing, is getting bogged down on a single question. You start trying to reason through this question and nothing is clicking, and you keep investing second after second, minute after minute, and you're not making headway. But the problem is all questions are worth the same amount, although they're not all of equal difficulty. And so if question number 17 is giving you trouble, if you're not making headway, just skip it, come back to it later with a fresh perspective. You can break out of that tunnel vision and see the question in a new way, turn it from wrong to right or from a guess to right. And I'll do this with maybe 3 to 6 questions per section. I'll skip them and come back later just because I don't like the looks of it the first time around, and it's not clicking for me initially. And so having that mindfulness and that self-control to step away from the question and come back later, I think is a strategy that a lot of students would be well served by adopting.
Great. Now, you mentioned earlier that the LSAT can be learned. It's just understanding the mindset of the test creators. So somebody buys a book, they do the practice exams, they get a course like yours. What value does a one-on-one tutoring session do for people? I mean, so they've done all the other stuff. How do you take them to that next level?
So self-studying is great. It's risen in popularity in recent years with the rise of free and low-cost resources. But the problem is that you can't see your own blind spots. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so I'll sometimes meet with students and they'll reach out to me maybe just a few months before the exam when they've already been studying for several months. And within 10 minutes or even 5 minutes of speaking with them, I can point out and correct some misconceptions they have about a particular question type or a way to approach something. So I can help spot ways they could improve their approach or the inefficiency of their studying. And it's easy to go it alone when you have all the internet and all the resources it offers. But when you work with someone like myself, you're getting the benefit of over 10 years of experience and obsession with this topic. And having brought thousands of students through the process, there are certain common patterns and trends and things to look for. And so I would say if you're considering it, definitely try it out at least an hour or two with anyone. There's plenty of great tutors out there, but try someone out, see if it fits, see if it makes a difference. Because again, just a single comment they make could change everything for you.
Yeah, it's funny, you're mentioning that story. So I was working with a student at Harvard Law School a few weeks ago, and bright kid, obviously got into Harvard, did well, did all those things to get him in, and of course they don't provide a lot of advice once you're in law school. So kind of like you were saying, right? So I was able to see his blind spots. He rewrote the essay for me. He got it right. But it's just great seeing that aha moment with the student, and he just didn't see it. He needed, as you say, kind of that guidance, somebody you don't know what you don't know, and you need that one-on-one guidance. So any other thoughts here before we wrap this up? I like what you're doing. It sounds exciting. I like to see somebody following their passion. Looked at your website and your videos. And by the way, if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel.
It's LSAT blog. So just YouTube LSAT blog.
My apologies. LSAT blog. And it is a lot of material, games, study strategies. I was very impressed by what you're doing on YouTube, Steve.
Thanks, Bono. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you today. I guess the single thing I would leave students with is that a single insight can change everything. So if you're having trouble with the LSAT, don't give up. Reach out to others for help. Seek out additional resources, because sometimes there's just one little thing that can make it all click for you and make that difference. So thank everyone for watching. Please come over, check out my channel if you're not already there. Have a lot of free resources, and I'm happy to help however I can.
Sounds great. And I'll put the link to the right spot down in the comment section. Take care, Steve. Pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks, Beau. Same. Take care.